My name is Xiao Siyu, and today is my engagement banquet with Gu Yenza. I held a wine glass, my hand steady. Gu Yenza stood right across from me, 3 meters away. He was talking to a business partner, not even sparing me a glance from the corner of his eye. As expected, in this book titled, The CEO's Exclusive Sweetheart, I am merely a tool to advance the relationship between the male and female leads. A thoroughly malicious supporting character. My existence is solely to use my pettiness and foolishness to highlight the kindness and goodness of the female lead, and Kiki, Gu Yenza, my fiancé, looks down on me from the bottom of his heart. He thinks I'm just a pretty face, empty-headed on the inside, and malicious at heart. He's right, at least that's how it's written in the book, according to the plot. In 1 minute, and Kiki will accidentally bump into me while carrying a tray. I'll fly into a rage out of humiliation and splash a glass of 1982 Lafite in her face. Then, Gu Yenza would rush over in a single stride, embrace the trembling and Kiki, and say to me in the coldest voice in the world, "Xiao Siyu, you truly disgust me." Such a classic scene. I even started to muster the angry expression I should have when splashing the wine. But just then, a sudden ding sounded in my mind. Before her eyes, rows of colorful little words drifted past. Here we go. Front row with melon seeds, soda, and a small stool, waiting for the supporting female character to dig her own grave. Xiao Siyu, that big idiot. Every time I see this part, I want to rush in and slap her twice, and Kiki obviously didn't do it on purpose. What do you know? Upstairs, without her feeding kills, how could President Gu save the beauty? How could the male and female leads' feelings heat up? Countdown 10 seconds. President Gu is about to activate wife protection mode. So freaking cool, sigh. The Chiao family is really out of luck, raising such a foolish daughter. In less than a year, Gu Yenza will bankrupt them, and she'll end up jumping off a building. How tragic. My hand holding the wine glass trembled slightly. What the hell is this? Bullet comments. Bankruptcy. Jumping off a building. I blinked hard, but the words were still there, dense and numerous. They filled my entire field of vision. I looked around at the people nearby again. They seemed calm and composed, as if they had seen nothing. So, am I the only one who can see it? 5, 4, 3, 2, here she comes. The innocent White Lotus female lead makes her entrance. A figure in a white waiter's uniform, holding a tray, indeed stumbled and rushed toward me. The champagne tower on the tray teetered precariously. Her eyes were panicked, with a clear target. My one-of-a-kind Chanel haute couture gown. Look at that expression of hers. So convincingly acted. Oscar owes her a little golden statue. Ha ha ha. I bet a pack of spicy strips that Xiao Siyu definitely can't dodge it. Dodge. Does her IQ even allow her to dodge? She'll just stand there waiting to be hit, then go crazy. I looked at those bullet comments, then glanced at Nkiki, who was less than a meter away from me. The string in my mind called reason snapped with a twang. To hell with the plot. To hell with being a tool. Just 0.1 seconds before Nkiki was about to crash into me, I executed an incredibly graceful sidestep. The movement flowed like water, so fast it left only a blur in its wake. Thud, crash, Nkiki fell flat on her face with a solid thump. Plates flew, wine glasses shattered all over the floor, and champagne and cake smeared all over her head and face. That cheap white uniform was now a riot of colors, like a painter's palette. The entire banquet hall fell silent in an instant. Everyone stared at the scene, dumbfounded. Gu Yenza's face instantly darkened. Holy shit, what's going on? This isn't how the script was supposed to go. Damn, Xiao Siyu actually dodged it. Isn't she supposed to be an idiot? That smooth little sidestep deserves a perfect score. So freaking cool. Wait, if Xiao Siyu dodged it, how is President Gu supposed to play the hero and save the beauty? Gu Yenza obviously thought of this issue as well. He stood frozen in place, glancing at Nkiki lying on the floor, then at me, unharmed, even holding a wine glass with calm composure, and for a moment, he didn't know what to do first. Nkiki lay on the ground, her shoulders trembling, tears welling up instantly. I'm sorry, Miss Xiao, I didn't mean to. She lifted her head, her face smeared with cream and tears, looking utterly pitiful. In the past, I would have exploded, but now, as I watched the barrage of comments in my mind, I couldn't help but find it amusing. Here it comes, the classic line of the White Lotus, hurry up, Xiao Siyu, quickly say, you did it on purpose, and stick to your foolish persona to the end. I swirled the red wine in my glass, walked over to her, and looked down at her from above. Gu Yenza immediately stepped forward, shielding and Kiki behind him, glaring at me with a guarded expression as if I were about to splash the wine at any moment. Xiao Siyu, don't go too far, he warned, his voice filled with caution. I smiled. I looked at him, then glanced at Nkiki, who was still putting on an act behind him. Mr. Gu, which eye of yours saw me going too far? I handed the wine glass to a nearby waiter, then took a silk handkerchief from my clutch bag and leisurely wiped my fingers, which hadn't actually gotten anything on them. This young lady fell on her own, dirted the floor, and frightened the guests. As the host of the banquet, I haven't even held her accountable yet. How does that make me the one going too far? My voice was not loud, but it was clear enough to carry throughout the entire hall. Gu Yenza's face darkened completely. She didn't do it on purpose. Oh, I raised an eyebrow. How do you know? Did you see with your own eyes that it wasn't intentional? Or perhaps, President Gu, you have the ability to foresee the future and see through people's hearts. Well said. Perfect logic. So satisfying. First time seeing Xiao Siyu actually using her brain. This feels amazing. Gu Yenza is speechless. Ha ha ha. He definitely never expected Xiao Siyu to talk to him like that. Gu Yenza was indeed left speechless. He struggled for a long time before squeezing out a sentence. She's just a waitress. Why would she deliberately bump into you? You'll have to ask her that yourself. I turned my gaze toward Nkiki, or perhaps ask you, Mr. Gu. After all, with so many people in the room, she didn't bump into anyone else. She came straight for me. Who would believe it wasn't intentional? I crouched down, meeting Nkiki's eyes at her level. Her tears were still falling, and her body trembled even more violently. Miss, tell me, was it on purpose, or was it an accident? Nkiki bit her lip, crying as she said, I really didn't mean to. Miss Xiao, please, I beg you, forgive me. Forgive you for what? I tilted my head. Smiling like an angel, forgive you for your talent of tripping on flat ground, or forgive you for nearly staining this one-of-a-kind gown of mine. I reached out a finger, gently touched her chin, leaned close to her ear, and whispered in a voice only the two of us could hear, not bad acting. Next time, remember to pick a spot without surveillance cameras. And Keek's body suddenly stiffened. She lifted her head, looking at me with disbelief. I stood up, brushing off non-existent dust from my hands. All right, stop crying here. It's bad luck. I turned and said to the security guard not far away, take her away, find out which company she's from, and make sure she never appears at any of the Qiao family's banquets again. Xiao Siyu, Gu Yenza roared. I turned back, looking at him coldly. Mr. Gu, today is our engagement banquet, the day the Qiao and Gu families unite. And now you're shouting at me over some random waitress. I looked around. The guests were all whispering among themselves, or perhaps you're simply not satisfied with this engagement. If you're not happy, you can say it outright. Our Qiao family doesn't need to cling desperately to your Gu family. Holy shit, playing it this big, directly bringing up breaking off the engagement. Damn, did Xiao Siyu take the wrong medicine today? Her combat power is off the charts. Get out now, leave this scumbag. Sister deserves better. Gu Yenza's face turned pale. Then flushed with anger. The marriage alliance between the Qiao and Gu families was arranged by his grandfather, involving several major projects between the two companies. He might not like me, but he absolutely could not ruin this marriage at this critical moment. He looked at me, his gaze complex, filled with anger, confusion, and a hint of something he himself hadn't noticed, embarrassment. Finally, gritting his teeth, he forced out a few words through clenched jaws. I didn't mean it that way. Good, you'd better not have. I smoothed my skirt, picked up another glass of champagne, and smiled with grace and poise, as if the person who just spoke so sharply wasn't me. I walked over to my dad, who was staring at me in shock. Dad, it's fine, just a little accident. My dad opened his mouth, but no words came out for a long time. I gently swirled my wine glass, watching Nkiki being escorted out by security, along with Gu Yenza, whose face had turned ashen. The barrage of thoughts in my mind continued to scroll frantically. So satisfying. Today's show was worth every penny. Ciao, see you. From today onward, you are my queen. I wonder how the plot will unfold next. It's slipped out of control, and I'm a bit excited. I curled the corner of my mouth. Excited. The real show has only just begun. Want to bankrupt my family. Want me to jump off a building. Have you ever asked about the script in my hands? The engagement banquet ended in discord. The guests left with a bellyful of gossip, thoroughly satisfied. My dad pulled me into the lounge, his expression more colorful than a painter's palette. See you, what's going on with you today? He asked cautiously, afraid I was still the same firecracker that would explode at the slightest touch. I took a sip of water to moisten my throat. Dad, do you think what I did today was wrong? No, no, no. My dad quickly waved his hands. It was right, absolutely right. That's exactly how those shady characters should be dealt with. It's just, you weren't like this before. I set down my cup, looking at his graying hair, feeling a pang of sadness in my heart. In the book, after the Chiao family went bankrupt, my dad's hair turned white overnight, and in the end, he died in the hospital, exhausted and heartbroken, and all of this is because of my foolish daughter, who, for the sake of a man who doesn't love me, dragged the entire Chiao family down with me. Dad, I've grown up, that was all I could say. My father was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes reddened. Good, good, it's good that you've grown up. At that moment, the door to the lounge was pushed open. Gu Yenza walked in, his face darker than the bottom of a pot, and Kiki wasn't following behind him. Probably sent to the hospital. The scumbag is here. Everyone, stay alert and get ready for battle. Queen Xiao, don't back down. Confront him, let him know we women aren't to be trifled with. Looking at those bullet comments, I almost burst out laughing. This generation of readers is quite adorable. Uncle Xiao, Gu Yenza greeted my father first, his attitude still respectful. Then, he turned to me, his gaze as cold as ice. Xiao, see you must go and apologize to Kiki. His tone was commanding, leaving no room for argument. My father's face darkened. I raised my hand to stop him, signaling him not to speak. I looked at Gu Yenza and asked slowly, why should I apologize? You knew perfectly well she didn't mean it, yet you humiliated her in front of so many people and cost her her job. Don't you think you've gone too far? Gu Yenza demanded. First, I don't know whether she meant it or not. All I know is that the result was she nearly ruined this engagement party. Second, humiliate her. I was stating facts. How is that humiliation? Third, cost her her job. That was the security team's decision, not mine. If you have any issues with our family's security measures, Mr. Gu, you can take it up with my father. I spoke with such precision that I blocked all his questions. Logical genius Xiao Siyu, learned something new. I'll use this line of argument next time I argue. Look at Gu Yenza's expression. It's like he swallowed a fly. Ha ha ha. Gu Yenza's fists clenched with a creaking sound. He had probably never been so frustrated with me before, in the past. Just one glare from him would make me so scared that I'd do whatever he said. Xiao Siyu, I don't have time to play word games with you. He took a deep breath, suppressing his anger as he said, Coco, she sprained her ankle. The doctor said it's quite serious and might affect her ability to walk in the future. Oh, snap, here it comes, the classic pity party. It's just a sprained ankle. Why not say you're paralyzed? Can't you be a bit more sophisticated with your White Lotus tactics? Just wait. The next step will be Gu Yenza using this as leverage to make Xiao Siyu take responsibility. The barrage was right, Gu Yenza continued, all of this started because of you. You must go to the hospital, apologize to her in person, and take full responsibility for all her medical expenses and compensation for emotional distress. I smiled. Gu Yenza, are you joking with me? I stood up and walked step by step toward him. We were very close, and I could smell the expensive woody fragrance of his cologne. First, she twisted her ankle because she tripped on flat ground herself. What does that have to do with me? Did I trip her with my eyes? Second, covering medical expenses, compensation for emotional distress. She's your precious darling, not mine. Shouldn't you, the great CEO Gu, be the one to pay her bills? My voice was soft, yet it cut like a knife, stabbing into his heart one blow at a time. Finally, I paused, looking straight into his eyes. Get this straight. Xiao Siyu, am your rightful fiancé, and now, right in front of me, you're questioning and threatening me for another woman. I leaned in close, almost brushing against his ear. Gu Yenja, guess what would happen if I told your grandfather exactly what you said today, word for word? Gu Yenja's body instantly stiffened. The Gu family patriarch valued face and promises above all else. This marriage arrangement was his bottom line. If he knew Gu Yenza had embarrassed me at the engagement party for some woman of unknown origin, he'd definitely break his legs. Checkmate, bringing out old Master Gu right away. Let's see how he keeps acting so arrogant. The queen is mighty. Strike the snake at its head. This move is absolutely ruthless. Gu Yenza backed down. I saw him back down. Gu Yenja's face turned from ashen to deathly pale. He stared at me fixedly, as if seeing me for the first time. You've changed. People always change. I took a step back, putting distance between us, and smiled innocently. Maybe I've read a few books recently, and my mind has become a bit sharper. After saying that, I ignored him and directly said to my dad, Dad, I'm tired. I'm heading back first. All right. Have the driver take you. My dad's eyes were filled with admiration as he looked at me. I walked to the door, then stopped in my tracks. Oh, by the way, Gu Yenza, I turned back and looked at him. I know you don't like me, and I don't particularly like you either. This marriage is nothing more than an exchange of family interests. If you really have any backbone, go tell your grandfather to call off the engagement. I lifted my chin and smiled brightly. But I bet you don't dare, so, put away that CEO act. You're not in a position to pull that with me, and one more thing, don't let me hear you mention Nkik's name again, otherwise, I didn't finish my sentence, just made a phone call gesture. The meaning was clear. I would call Mr. Gu directly. With that, I turned on my heels and walked away without looking back, leaving Gu Yenza alone on the spot, his face looking even worse than if his father had just died. "Aw, so cool, sis. You slay me. You don't have the qualifications to stand before me." I'm going to frame this quote and read it every day. Today is the most satisfying day since I started following this damn book. No contest. Sitting in the car on the way home, I leaned back in my seat and let out a long, deep sigh. The barrage of thoughts in my mind kept scrolling non-stop, like a never-ending party. I knew that today was only the first step. To completely break free from the control of the plot wouldn't be easy. Gu Yenja and Nkiki are the male and female leads of this book, blessed with the halo of protagonists. As for me, I am merely a cannon fodder character who could be killed off by the plot at any moment. Call off the engagement. Of course I want to, but not now. If I were to take the initiative to call off the engagement now, it would play right into Gu Yenza's hands, giving him the perfect excuse to be with Nkiki openly. Moreover, the collaborative project between the Qiao and Gu families has already been launched. Terminating the contract rashly would cause significant losses for our Qiao family. If I'm going to withdraw, I'll do it only after completely disentangling the Qiao family, and in a way that will make them feel the most humiliated and pained. Gu Yenja, Nkiki, your nightmare has only just begun. Early the next morning, I received a call from Gu Yenja. It rang for a long time before I leisurely picked it up. Hello, Qiao Siyu, what exactly do you want? The voice on the other end of the line was suppressing its anger. I yawned, applying lipstick in front of the mirror. Mr. Gu, you called so early in the morning just to ask that. I thought you were calling to apologize for your rudeness yesterday. He took a deep breath, as if using every ounce of strength in his body to hold back from cursing. Coco is in a terrible state. She's been crying non-stop, saying she's sorry and wants to apologize to you in person. Here it comes, the classic White Lotus move, retreating to advance. She doesn't want to apologize. She wants to put on another tearful performance in front of Gu Yenza, making you the villain. Queen Qiao, don't fall for it. I looked at the barrage of comments and smiled. Is that so? If she wants to apologize, she can call me herself, or she could post an apology in the newspaper. That would show more sincerity. Qiao Siyu. Gu Yenza's voice rose an octave. Her foot is in that condition. How can she call you? Can't you show a little compassion, sympathy? I put down the lipstick and raised an eyebrow at my reflection in the mirror. My sympathy is expensive. Not just any stray cat or dog is worthy of it. Are you really going to be like this? Gu Yenza's voice turned cold. Let me tell you, if you don't show up at the hospital by 2 o'clock this afternoon, you'll have to face the consequences. Beep, beep. Beep. The call was disconnected. I looked at my phone and sneered. face the consequences. I'd like to see what consequences you can make me face. At 1:30 in the afternoon, I left on time, but I didn't go straight to the hospital. Instead, I first went to my father's company and picked up the head of the legal department, Lawyer Wang. Then, I had the driver make a detour to the city's most upscale fruit shop, where I bought an imported fruit basket worth 5 figures, at exactly 2 o'clock. I appeared at the door of the VIP ward at St. Mary's Hospital, my high heels clicking. Lawyer Wang followed behind me, carrying the fruit basket with a stern expression on his face. I pushed the door open, in the hospital room, and Kiki was leaning against Gu Yenza's chest, crying as if her heart were breaking. Her ankle was wrapped in thick bandages, looking quite serious. Indeed, Gu Yenza was softly comforting her. But when he saw me enter, he immediately looked up, his gaze sharp as a knife. "You finally decided to show up." I ignored him and walked straight to the hospital bed. "Missin, I heard you were looking for me," and Kiki lifted her head from Gu Yenza's embrace, her eyes red like a rabbit's, looking at me timidly. "Miss Chiao, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have accidentally bumped into you, causing you and President Gu to argue." As she spoke, tears streamed down her face, looking utterly pitiful and heart-wrenching. The acting showcase has begun. Look at Gu Yenza's pained expression. "TSK, TSK, TSK, what a scumbag." "Queen Chiao, hurry, start your performance." I placed the Hermes bag in my hand on the sofa beside me, then took the enormous fruit basket from Lawyer Wang and set it down heavily on the bedside table. The loud thud startled and Kiki. "No need for apologies," I said, pulling over a chair, sitting down, and crossing my legs. "I'm here today to discuss the matter of compensation." Both Kiki and Gu Yenza were stunned. "Compensation, compensation," and Kiki stammered as she asked. "Yes, compensation." I gestured to Lawyer Wang. Lawyer Wang immediately stepped forward, pulling a document from his briefcase. "Missin, hello, I am the legal counsel for the Chiao Group." Lawyer Wang adjusted his glasses and spoke in a businesslike manner. "Regarding last night's engagement banquet between the Chiao and Gu families, where you deliberately collided with Miss Chiao Siu, causing the banquet to be interrupted, creating chaos on the scene, and severely damaging Miss Chiao's personal reputation, we are formally filing a claim against you." He handed the documents to Nkiki. "This is the compensation list. It includes the potential contamination risk fee for Miss Chiao's 3 million yuan Chanel haute couture gown, the direct economic loss of approximately 500,000 yuan caused by the interruption of the banquet due to your actions, and the reputational and emotional damages to Miss Chiao caused by your tearful appearance being captured by guests, which we have assessed at 5 million yuan. Attorney Wang paused briefly before concluding. "In total, 8.5 million. The entire hospital room fell so silent you could hear a pin drop, and Keek's tears hung on her eyelashes, forgotten to fall. Gu Yenza's mouth was agape, wide enough to fit an egg. Holy shit, you can play it like this." Counterclaim. "Damn, why didn't I think of that? That's absolutely brilliant. 8.5 million. Ha 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 ha." Even if she sold herself, she couldn't afford to pay that. Lawyer Wang is awesome. This professional skill is top-notch. It took a long while for Gu Yenza to finally react. He snatched the document away, trembling all over with anger. "Chiao Siu, have you lost your mind? She's just a waitress. Where would she get 5 million to pay you back? She may not have it, but that doesn't mean the person behind her doesn't." I looked at him meaningfully. "Mr. Gu, since you care so much about her, this amount shouldn't be much for you, right? This is extortion." "No, this is legitimate rights protection," I corrected. "Attorney Wang, if Missin can't afford this amount, what should we do according to the procedure?" Attorney Wang replied expressionlessly. "We will file a lawsuit with the court. During the litigation, Missin may face measures such as asset freezing and restrictions on high-consumption activities." And Keek's face instantly turned deathly pale. She looked at me, her eyes filled with fear. "Miss Chiao, I really don't have any money. Please, let me go." "Let you go." I stood up, walked to her bedside, bent down, and whispered in a voice only the two of us could hear. "Just like yesterday, when you schemed all of this back then, why didn't you think of letting me go? What you wanted was to step on me and become Mrs. Gu, wasn't it?" And Keek's pupils contracted sharply, trembling like a sieve. I straightened up, resuming my usual calm and composed demeanor. Listen, I'll give you 3 days to think it over. Whether you pay up quietly or we meet in court. The choice is yours. I picked up my bag and prepared to leave. Ciao, see you. You stop right there. Gu Yenza blocked my path, his eyes red with anger. If you dare lay a finger on her, I will never let you get away with it. Oh, I looked at him and smiled. How exactly does Mr. Gu plan to not let me off? By cutting off cooperation with the Chiao family, or by having your grandfather break your legs? Gu Yenza's breath hitched. I walked past him and headed toward the door. Gu Yenza. Let me remind you of something. Every penny you're spending to stand up for her now belongs to the Gu family. Do you think, if your grandfather found out that his most valued heir not only nearly ruined an arranged marriage over a waitress but also had to pay 5 million out of his own pocket, he might reconsider the heir situation? With that, I turned and walked away without looking back. Lawyer Wang followed closely behind. Behind us came the sound of Nkik's heartbroken sobs and Gu Yenza's furious roars. KO, a perfect double kill, killing the person and destroying their spirit, using inheritance rights as a threat. That's ruthless, I declare. From today onward, I am Queen Xiao's most loyal fan. Don't anyone try to stop me. Stepping out of the hospital, the sunlight was dazzling. I took a deep breath. The feeling was absolutely exhilarating. The incident at the hospital quickly spread, after my father found out. He called me into his study, hesitating to speak. See you, won't this offend the Gu family too deeply? I poured him a cup of tea. Dad, do you think that even if I were to obey his every whim like before, he would ever look upon our Chiao family with any respect? My father fell silent. He wouldn't, I answered myself. In his eyes, I'm just a fool he can manipulate at will. And the Chiao family is nothing more than a stepping stone on his path to success. The more we retreat, the more he'll push his advantage. I looked at my father and said, word by word, Dad, from today onward, the Chiao family will be no one's stepping stone. My father looked at me, his eyes filled with shock and relief, which eventually melted into a long, deep sigh. You've grown up. From now on, you'll be the one making decisions for the family. With my father's symbolic, imperial sword of authority, the first thing I did was convene a meeting of the company's top executives. In the conference room, a group of senior executives, all uncles and elders in their generation, watched me sitting at the head of the table with a mix of different expressions in their eyes. There was curiosity, disdain, and also contempt. I paid them no mind. I had my assistant distribute a document to everyone present. Esteemed uncles, this is our company's development plan for the next 6 months. Please take a look. Everyone lowered their heads to look at the documents. At first, they were casual, but the more they read, the more serious their expressions became. Miss, this, a director surnamed Li couldn't help but speak up. Are you planning to halt the Star Bay project we're collaborating on with the Gu Group? Not halt, but transfer, I corrected him. What? The meeting room erupted in an uproar. The Star Bay project was the largest collaboration between the Chiao and Gu families. With massive investments of capital and manpower already poured into the early stages, how could it be handed over just like that? Miss, this is no joke. If this project is halted, all our previous investments will go down the drain, with losses amounting to at least 1 billion. Indeed, miss, please think twice. I raised my hand, signaling for them to be quiet. I understand everyone's concerns. I turned on the projector, and a detailed data analysis report appeared on the screen. On the surface, the Star Bay project appears to be highly profitable. However, the contract contains many hidden clauses that are extremely unfavorable to our Chiao Group. The Gu Group controls the project's core technology and sales channels, while we, to put it bluntly, are merely the ones footing the bill and doing the heavy lifting. If any issues arise with the cash flow in the later stages, they can withdraw their investment at any time, shifting all the risks onto us. I paused for a moment, then dropped a bombshell. Moreover, from what I know, Gu Corporation's overseas investments have recently run into some trouble, and their cash flow is quite tight. Right now, they're waiting for us to transfer the next payment to fill their gap. At that, the meeting room fell completely silent. Damn, Queen Xiao actually knows about business. Isn't she supposed to be a useless pretty face? This information seems to have been mentioned in the book. As a foreshadowing of the Gu family suppressing the Qiao family later on, I never expected Xiao Xiu to discover it ahead of time. How did she know? Could it be that she can see what we're saying too? Of course, I don't know. I'm reading your comments. I stayed up all last night, sorting through all the bullet comments about the Qiao family's bankruptcy that had been floating through my mind. This information is what I pieced together from your spoilers. So, my plan is, I continued, to immediately terminate our cooperation with the Gu family, package the Star Bay project, and transfer it to the Hongyuan Group, which is currently looking to enter the real estate market. I've already made preliminary contact with them, and they're very interested. This way, we can not only cut our losses in time but also make a small profit, completely freeing ourselves from dependence on the Gu family. I looked at everyone, my gaze resolute. Uncles, I know this decision is quite sudden. But business is like a battlefield. Hesitation leads to defeat. To hand over the lifeblood of the company to others and wait for their charity, I, Xiao Xiu, cannot do that. My words fell with resounding weight. The senior executives looked at me, their eyes gradually shifting from disdain to awe. In the end, Director Li was the first to stand up. I agree with the young lady's decision. Damn it. I've long disliked that kid from the Gu family. I agree too. Agreed. Unanimously passed. As soon as the meeting ended, I immediately instructed the legal department to draft the termination contract. When the news reached Gu Yenza's ears, he was in his office listening to his assistant's work report. Here it comes, the grand face-slapping moment is here. Gu Yenza must have thought Xiao Xiu was just throwing a tantrum with him, never expecting she was actually serious. Ha ha ha, cutting off his source of income, pulling the rug out from under him. This move is absolutely ruthless. Gu Yenza's call came almost instantly. Xiao Xiu, what do you mean by this? The moment the call connected, his furious roar echoed through the line. I picked at my ear. Mr. Gu, let's talk this out properly. There's no need to shout. It just makes you look uncivilized. You actually dare to unilaterally terminate the Star Bay project. Do you even know how much the penalty fee is? Of course I know, I said with a calm, breezy tone. As for the penalty fee, I've already had the finance department calculate it. Compared to the tens of billions you've swindled from us, this amount is something our Qiao family can afford to pay. On the other end of the phone, there was a deathly silence. He clearly didn't expect that I had already figured out all his cards. He was speechless for a long time. Mr. Gu, business is business, and feelings are feelings, since our feelings have already broken down. There's naturally no need to keep the business tied together anymore, don't you think? I deliberately emphasized the word feelings with particular weight. Oh, that's right, I seem to recall something. I heard that you helped Miss Nkiki with her discharge procedures, and even rented her a high-end apartment under your name. President Gu is truly a kind-hearted and helpful person. How did you know? If you don't want others to know, you shouldn't have done it in the first place. President Gu, don't forget, you're still my fiancé, using the Gu family's money to support another woman outside. If this gets out, Xiao Xiu, how dare you threaten me? I wouldn't dare. I'm just reminding you. I smiled. Keep your lower half in check, and keep your wallet in check too. Otherwise, I won't mind helping you save face. With that, I hung up the phone directly, listening to the busy tone coming from the phone. I could imagine Gu Yenza's face twisted with anger right now. Satisfying. To cut off your source of wealth is to sever your limbs. Gu Yenza, this is only the beginning. Soon, the annual charity gala arrived. According to the original plot, this was yet another stage prepared for the deepening of the main couple's relationship, and Kiki will attend as a special guest. She will take a liking to an expensive diamond necklace but won't be able to afford it. Then, I will deliberately bid against her, driving the price up to embarrass her. In the end, Gu Yenza will step in with a commanding presence, winning the necklace at a sky-high price of tens of millions, and personally place it around Nkiki's neck, leaving everyone in awe, and I would become the laughingstock of the entire event. A jealous, ridiculous clown. I glanced at the red gown hanging in the closet, prepared for the banquet, and let out a cold laugh. Want me to be the background? Not a chance. On the night of the banquet, I walked in on my father's arm. Dressed in my finest attire, as soon as we entered, we became the center of attention. My father, having recently led the company through a successful transformation and freed it from its dependence on the Gu family, was glowing with confidence, standing tall and proud. Gu Yanzha was there as well. He stood alone, his face so dark it seemed as if water could drip from it. Our engagement hadn't been called off, yet I, his fiancée, was nowhere by his side. Anyone with eyes could see there was trouble between us. When he saw me, his gaze grew complicated. He wanted to approach but couldn't bring himself to swallow his pride. I ignored him outright, linking arms with my father as I smoothly greeted the various business tycoons. Many people look at me differently now. Before, they saw me as the immature Miss Chiao. Now, they see me as a capable and decisive successor to the Chiao family. This feeling isn't bad at all. Soon, and Kiki made her entrance. Dressed in a pristine white evening gown and wearing light makeup, she truly had the air of a pure, innocent little flower. She hadn't come with Gu Yanzha, but was instead accompanying the second male lead, Lin Xiang, the young heir of the Lin group. Lin Xiang, the classic, simp, second male lead in the story, he was deeply devoted to the female lead, without any regrets, and in the end, he even lost a leg to save her. The second male lead, the simp, has made his entrance. Coco's first backup option. Lin Xiang is also blind. He has a perfectly good business marriage prospect right in front of him, yet he insists on falling for a white lotus. Look, and Keek's gaze is glued to Gu Yanzha, while Lin Xiang beside her looks like a clown. As soon as Nkiki entered, she began searching everywhere for Gu Yanzha, seeing Gu Yanzha alone, and then noticing me chatting and laughing with my father. A flicker of jealousy flashed in her eyes. The auction soon began. The first few auction items passed without much excitement. Finally, it was the turn of the diamond necklace named Heart of the Ocean. The host introduced. This necklace was personally crafted by the renowned designer Alan. The main stone is a 20-carat blue diamond. With a starting bid of 3 million, as soon as the words were spoken, and Keek's eyes lit up, she excitedly grabbed Lin Xiang's arm, exclaiming, "Brother Xiang, it's so beautiful." Lin Xiang immediately understood the hint and raised his paddle. 3,100,000. Here it comes, the plot is starting. Ciao, see you. Get ready, it's your turn as the villain to make an entrance. I picked up the champagne glass on the table, took a gentle sip, and remained still, on the field. A few people followed with their bids. The price was quickly driven up to 5 million. Lin Xiang hesitated a bit, and Kiki was so anxious she was almost in tears, shaking his arm incessantly. "Brother Xiang." Lin Xiang gritted his teeth, ready to raise the paddle again. Just then, a cool, clear voice rang out, 10 million. It's Gu Yanzha. He raised his paddle, but his eyes were fixed on Nkiki. Filled with an overbearing determination to succeed, the whole room erupted in an uproar. Directly raising the bid from 5 million to 10 million clearly showed he was determined to win, and Keek's face instantly flushed red, a mix of excitement and shyness, as she gazed longingly at Gu Yanzha. Lin Xiang's hand hung awkwardly in midair. "Ah, President Gu is so handsome, that domineering CEO aura." My heart aches for Lin Xiang for a second. What a massive NTR scene. What about Xiao Siyu? Why hasn't she raised the bid yet? This isn't following the script. Could it be that she's scared, afraid? The word fear doesn't exist in my dictionary. I watched Gu Yanzha's smug expression and slowly raised my paddle. 11 million. Instantly, all eyes in the room were fixed on me. This is going to be interesting. This is the voice of everyone's heart. Gu Yanzha's face darkened. He looked at me coldly, as if saying, "How dare you compete with me?" And Keek's eyes were also filled with grievance and resentment. I shot them back with a provocative smile. 15 million, Gu Yanzha raised the bid without hesitation. 16 million, I followed. 20 million, 21 million, the price kept soaring. The people around were completely stunned. This was no longer an auction, it was a contest of wills. Crazy, just crazy. Xiao Siyu is so bold today. Gu Yanzha is getting worked up. He must think Xiao Siyu is jealous and deliberately opposing him. But where did Xiao Siyu get so much money? Didn't the Chiao family just terminate their contract with the Gu Corporation? This question had clearly crossed Gu Yanzha's mind as well. He looked at me, a hint of contempt in his eyes. In his view, I was merely putting on a brave face. He raised his paddle and called out a price he was certain I couldn't match. 30 million. After speaking, he looked at me provocatively. The entire auction hall fell silent. Everyone was looking at me, waiting for me to continue bidding or to give up in disgrace. and Keek's face already wore a triumphant smile. I put down the placard and didn't raise the bid any further. Sigh, still lost. It was expected, after all, we couldn't match their financial power. Xiao Siyu was already amazing today. A glorious defeat. The host picked up the gavel and shouted excitedly, 30 million once, 30 million twice. Just as he was about to bring the hammer down, I suddenly spoke up, wait a moment. I stood up and picked up the microphone. President Gu is truly generous, spending 30 million on a necklace just to win a beauty's smile. Admirable, truly admirable. I took the lead in applauding. Gu Yenza's expression softened slightly. I then shifted the tone of my words. However, since this is a charity gala, all the money bid will be donated to children in mountainous areas. Mr. Gu, with your kind heart, I believe you wouldn't default on your payment, would you? What do you mean? Gu Yenza frowned. Nothing much. I smiled and turned to the host. Host, could you please check whether Gu Corporation's account can make a one-time payment of 30 million right now? Both the host and the organizers were stunned. It is extremely impolite to inspect a guest's account on the spot. Gu Yenza's face completely darkened. Xiao Siyu, don't go too far. Me, going too far. I held the microphone, my voice echoing throughout the venue. President Gu. Everyone knows that your Gu Group has recently suffered losses in overseas investments and is facing a tight cash flow. Yesterday, your company's stock hit the limit down, didn't it? You're now willing to sell everything you have, scraping together 30 million just to please a woman. I wonder what the shareholders of your company would think if they found out. You're talking nonsense. Gu Yenza snapped anxiously. Am I really talking nonsense? Why not check and see? I pressed on relentlessly. In front of all these media outlets here, do you dare to investigate? Gu Yenza's face flushed red, then turned pale. Of course, he wouldn't dare, because everything I said was the truth. All of this was also told to me by the barrage comments. Right now, he doesn't have 30 million in liquid funds in his account at all. He just made that bid because he was certain I wouldn't dare to outbid him to the end. He wanted to overwhelm me with his presence and then ask the organizers for leniency to pay in installments. Unfortunately, I didn't give him that chance. The entire hall fell into a dead silence. Everyone was looking at Gu Yenza with eyes full of anticipation for a good show. He stood there, like a clown stripped bare. This is the spotlight you wanted, Gu Yenza, the purgatory I crafted for you. Do you like it? In the end, Gu Yenza still couldn't come up with 30 million. He left in disgrace. Using the excuse that the company account had a temporary malfunction, that heart of the ocean necklace went unsold because no one placed a bid, and Keek's face looked even worse than if she had been crying. She followed Lin Xiang and left early as well. This charity dinner turned into Gu Yenza's public humiliation. The next day, financial news across the city was subtly discussing the issue of the Gu Group's capital chain. Gu Group stock fell again. Sitting in my office, watching the K-line chart on the computer, I was in an exceptionally good mood. Your Majesty, please accept my humble admiration. This move is absolutely brilliant. Not only did it make Gu Yenza and Nkiki lose face, but it also managed to snipe Gu Corporation's stock price, killing two birds with one stone. I hereby declare that this book is officially renamed The Revenge of the Villainous. Just as I was gleefully watching the barrage of comments, the office door was knocked. My assistant walked in. Mr. Xiao, Mr. Lin Xiang from the Lin family wishes to see you. Lin Xiang, what does he want with me? Oh dear, the second male lead who's a simp has come knocking. He must be here to stand up for his goddess. Be careful, Queen Xiao. According to the plot, he will righteously accuse Xiao Siyu, saying she is malicious and doesn't deserve love. I raised an eyebrow. Let him in. Soon, Lin Xiang walked into my office. He was dressed in a sharp suit and had a decent appearance, but there was a hint of resentment between his brows. As soon as he entered, he got straight to the point. Miss Xiao, why are you targeting Kiki like this? A tone of questioning. I gestured for him to sit, but he didn't move, just stood there stiffly. Fine. Standing gives him presence. I poured myself a glass of water and asked leisurely, what do you mean by that, Mr. Lin? How have I targeted her? Yesterday's auction. Lin Xiang raised his voice a bit. You knew perfectly well she liked that necklace, yet you deliberately drove up the price, leaving Gu Yenza in an awkward position and making her so upset. What were you thinking? I nearly choked on my water. that logic is truly touching, Mr. Lin. Let me correct a few things for you. I set down my cup, looked at him, and smiled. First, that was a charity auction, not a vegetable market. The highest bidder wins. It's only natural. I participated in the bidding openly and honestly. How did that become targeting her? Second, Gu Yenza couldn't save face because he had no money but loved to show off. What does that have to do with me? Did I force him to bid 30 million? Third, she was heartbroken. The smile on my face deepened. Was she heartbroken because she couldn't get the necklace? Or because she failed to step on me and become the center of attention? With every word I spoke, Lin Xiang's face grew a shade paler. You're twisting logic. No, I'm merely stating the facts. I leaned back in my chair, watching him with leisurely composure. It's you, Mr. Lin, who puzzles me greatly, and Kiki is in love with Gu Yenza. The whole world knows it. She treats you as a backup, a fool to be taken advantage of. And you willingly accept it. Last night, the way she looked at Gu Yenza, she practically wanted to throw herself at him on the spot, and you, standing right beside her, like a dutiful bodyguard. I stood up and walked over to him. Lin Xiang, you're the heir to the Lin Group, with wealth and looks to spare. What exactly are you after? That she doesn't love you, that she treats you like a tool, or that she's cheating on you? My words, like a knife, pierced straight into his well-disguised heart. Lin Xiang's face instantly drained of all color. He stared at me, his lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. Critical hit. This is a nuclear-level critical hit. Too ruthless. Is Queen Xiao's mouth blessed? Every word cuts like a knife. Lin Xiang is breaking down. Ha ha ha. Look at his expression. It's like he swallowed a live frog. You're talking nonsense. He finally managed to squeeze out a few words, his voice as weak as a deflated balloon. Coco isn't that kind of person. She's kind, she's innocent. It's you rich people who see the world as too dirty. Kind, innocent. I felt as if I had just heard the biggest joke of all time. Would a kind and innocent girl deliberately bump into the groom's fiancé at someone else's engagement party? Would a kind and innocent girl calmly accept one man's affection while secretly making eyes at another? Would a kind and innocent girl watch you spend a fortune on her, only to toss you aside the moment another man appears? I moved closer to him, staring straight into his eyes. Lin Xiang, are you really that foolish, or are you just pretending? Lin Xiang stumbled backward under my questioning, and finally, he fell back onto the sofa. He looked utterly lost, his eyes vacant and empty. Clearly, my words shattered the illusion of deep affection he had long constructed for himself. It wasn't that he didn't know and Kiki didn't love him. He just didn't dare to admit it. He didn't dare to admit that his so-called undying devotion was nothing but a joke in the eyes of others. Wake up, simp. Queen Xiao is enlightening him. Truly a virtuous deed. I'm not so sure. The thought process of a simp isn't something ordinary people can understand. I returned to my desk and sat down. Mr. Lin, I've said all I need to say. You're a smart man. You should know how to choose. I pressed the intercom. Show him out. Lin Xiang was ushered out by my assistant. Looking utterly dejected, looking at him like that, I shook my head. Trying to wake up a simp lost in self-pity is too hard, but the words I said today are like a seed. Someday, they'll take root and sprout in his heart. By then, and Keek's good days will be over, without the unconditional support of the second male lead who fawns over her. I wonder how long this white lotus of hers can keep blooming. The troubles at the Gu Group are even bigger than I imagined. The Star Bay project was snatched away by me, and then there was a major scandal at the charity gala, causing the Gu Group's stock price to fall for several consecutive days. It is said that old Master Gu was so furious that he was directly hospitalized. Gu Yenza was overwhelmed with troubles, yet even amidst his distress, he did not forget Nkiki. He probably felt that the whole world had betrayed him, and only Nkiki was his sole warm harbor. Thus, he made a decision that left everyone utterly astonished. He wants to break off our engagement. The news came from my dad. He was so angry that he pounded the table over the phone. That little bastard. He had his assistant call me to say he wants to break off the engagement. What does he think the Chiao family is? A place he can come and go as he pleases. Yet I remained calm. Dad, don't be angry. If he wants to break it off, just let him. See you. My father was stunned. You, Dad. A forced marriage is never sweet. since he has no feelings for me or the Chiao family, there's no point in keeping this engagement. I've been waiting for this day for a long time, but if he thinks he can break off the engagement so easily, he's got another thing coming. Dad, don't reply to him just yet, if he wants to break off the engagement. Fine, let him come here himself, with sincerity, to discuss it in person. After hanging up the phone, I looked out at the blue sky outside the window and smiled. Gu Yanjia, do you think breaking off the engagement is the end? No, this is just the beginning of another good show I've prepared for you. Gu Yanjia's sincerity arrived 3 days later. He probably thought that leaving me hanging for a few days would make me anxious, would make me take the initiative to go find him. Unfortunately, he was mistaken. For the past 3 days, I ate and drank as I pleased, and even acquired a promising small company along the way, living quite comfortably. He finally couldn't sit still any longer. On Friday afternoon, he personally came to our company. Without an appointment, he barged straight into my office. He looked much more haggard, with a stubble of dark beard on his chin and his eyes bloodshot. Chiao Siu, we need to talk. He flung a document onto my desk. Agreement to terminate the engagement. I didn't even glance at it. Want to break off the engagement, right? Sure. I nodded. A flicker of delight had just appeared on his face when he heard me continue. But I have 2 conditions. He frowned. What conditions? First, I held up one finger. Since it was your Gu family who brought it up first, that means you're the ones breaking the contract. The betrothal gifts and shares exchanged between our families when we got engaged. Our Chiao family won't return a single cent. Moreover, because you unilaterally tore up the engagement, causing reputational damage to our Chiao family, you'll need to pay additional compensation. You're dreaming. Gu Yanjia refused without a second thought. Chiao Siu, don't push your luck, push my luck. I laughed. Gu Yanjia, get this straight. It was you who cheated during the engagement. It was you who, for the sake of another woman, wants to abandon your fiancé. Right now, I'm only asking for money. I haven't even demanded you leave with nothing. That's already being merciful, domineering. We're going for the lion's share. Exactly. That scumbag deserves to be left with nothing. Gu Yanjia definitely won't agree to this. Let's wait and watch the drama unfold. Gu Yanjia's chest heaved violently with rage. And the second condition? He asked through gritted teeth. The second condition is simple. I leaned back in my chair, looked at him, and said word by word, I want you, together with Nkiki, to publish a full-page apology statement in the city's largest newspaper. What? He doubted he had heard correctly. An apology statement. I repeated, I've already thought of the content. The title will be, An Open Letter of Apology to Miss Chiao Siu. In the letter, you must elaborate in detail on how you were captivated by Nkiki's kindness and innocence, leading you to betray our engagement. As for Miss Nkiki, she must deeply repent how she unintentionally interfered in our relationship and express her most profound apologies. I watched Gu Yanjia's face turn from green to purple, then from purple to black, feeling utterly delighted. So, my request isn't too much, is it? Chiao Siu. Gu Yanjia roared my name, syllable by syllable, as if he wanted to devour me. You're humiliating me. Yes, I admitted frankly, I am humiliating you. When you humiliated me in front of so many people for her sake, did you ever think there would be a day like this? I stood up and walked over to him. Gu Yanjia, there are 2 paths. One is to agree to my terms, and we part on good terms. From then on, you and your Nkiki can be together, and I will never disturb you. Another option, I paused, my smile turning icy, is to disagree. Then we'll just keep dragging this out. I'm still your legitimate fiancé, believe me. As long as this relationship exists, I have plenty of ways to make sure you and her never know a moment's peace for the rest of your lives. My threat was blatant, without any attempt at concealment. Gu Yanjia stared at me with a deathly glare, his eyes filled with raging fury, resentment, and a hint of fear. He knew I meant every word. I am no longer the Chiao Siu who could be manipulated by him at will. I am a venomous snake driven to the brink, ready to strike back at any moment. Choose, hurry up and choose. I can't wait to see them publish an apology in the newspaper. Gu Yanjia would definitely not choose the second option. What he wants most right now is to break free from Chiao Siu and be with Nkiki. He will agree, for the sake of his true love. What does a little face matter? In the office, there was a long silence. in the end. Gu Yanjia seemed as if all his strength had been drained away. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, his gaze was ashen. All right, he forced the word out through gritted teeth. I promise you, I smiled, smiling brilliantly. Excellent, Mr. Gu, you are a smart man. I picked up the agreement on the table and tore it to shreds right in front of him. I will draft the agreement myself. Tomorrow, I will have my lawyer deliver it to your company. I looked at him and issued the final ultimatum. I want to see the newspaper by next Monday, otherwise, you know the consequences. Gu Yanzi didn't say another word, just gave me a deep look, turned around, and left my office. That figure, desolate and disheveled, victory, Her Majesty the Queen has triumphed completely. Ha 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 ha, I can't wait for next Monday's newspaper. It's definitely going to be the drama of the year. I'm heading to the newspaper office right now to wait. I must get the first copy. I sat back in the chair, gazing out the window at the crimson sunset. Breaking off the engagement was only the first step. Gu Yanzi, and Kiki, the pain you inflicted on the original host, I will make you repay it twofold. Monday, newspapers were sold out across the entire city. The front page headline was that enormous apology letter. Gu Yanjia and Nkik's black and white headshots were placed side by side. Like two funeral portraits, the bold, black headline read, "An apology letter to Miss Chiao Siu." The content was utterly servile and fawning. Gu Yanzi, sorrowfully, confessed how he had been blinded by greed and lacked discernment, betraying the beautiful, kind, and generous Miss Chiao Siu, and Kiki, in turn, wept bitterly as she explained how she had been ignorant and naive, unwittingly disrupting someone else's relationship, and expressed her willingness to bear all consequences while begging for Miss Chiao's forgiveness. This apology letter became the biggest joke in town, a topic of conversation for everyone after meals. The Gu family and Nkiki have completely become public enemies. When old Master Gu saw the newspaper, he was so furious that he was rushed back to the ICU for the second time. The stock price of the Gu Group plummeted in response, hitting the daily limit down. Well done. This level of social death is comparable to streaking. I've been laughing with the newspaper all morning. My stomach hurts. Gu Yanjia must be wishing he were dead right now. Of course I know he wants to die, because my revenge has only just begun. The day after the apology letter was published in the newspaper, I gathered my team, an Avengers alliance composed of financial traders, top-tier hackers, and seasoned lawyers. These individuals were all recruited by me over the past month, at a high cost, everyone. I stood before the whiteboard in the conference room. We have only one goal. I picked up the pen and wrote two words heavily on the whiteboard. Gu Corporation, from today onward, I want you to use every means possible to short Gu Corporation's stock. I want it to become worthless paper within half a month. My words made everyone present gasp sharply. Shorting a publicly listed company with a market cap of tens of billions. It's simply a fantasy, Mr. Chiao. The risk is too great, said Zhang Wei, the trader, frowning. I've already assessed the risks. I turned on the projector, displaying all the financial statements and project materials of the Gu Group from the past 5 years. The details are so thorough that even people within their own company might not have them. How did you get all this? Hacker Little K asked in astonishment. You don't need to worry about that. I smiled. All you need to know is that these documents show the Gu Group has long been hollowed out. Of course, all of this was thanks to the barrage comments. According to the readers, spoilers, Gu Yanzi had been engaging in high-risk overseas investments over the past few years to expand his business, only to lose everything. The company's internal resources have long been hollowed out by him, relying entirely on bank loans and a few major projects to stay afloat. Now, with the Star Bay project snatched away by me and the apology letter tarnishing the company's reputation, the banks have already started pressing for loan repayments. He is now nothing but a paper tiger. One poke and it will collapse. My plan is, first, spread the news, create panic, and make retail investors sell off their stocks. Second, contact several major shareholders of the Gu family. I have a way to make them sell as well. Third, when the stock price hits rock bottom, we'll buy in large quantities and seize the opportunity to take control. I looked at my team, my eyes gleaming with unwavering determination. What I want is not to bankrupt the Gu family. What I want is to make it bear the name Chiao. Over the next 2 weeks, the the entire financial world went crazy. The scandals of the Goo Group came pouring down like a blizzard: tax evasion, shoddy projects, infighting among executives. Each one was enough to be fatal. The stock price plummeted, completely out of control. Gu Yanzha was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan, scrambling everywhere to borrow money in an attempt to stabilize the stock price. But when a wall is about to collapse, everyone gives it a push. Those former partners who once called him brother were now avoiding him like the plague. Even his biggest backer, old Master Gu, was in no position to help, as his illness had worsened and he could barely take care of himself. Whereas Kiki, she had long since vanished in fright. It said that she took the last sum of money Gu Yanzha gave her and secretly went abroad. Truly, when disaster strikes, everyone flees for themselves. Day 15, the stock price of the Gu Group has fallen to $1. It has become a veritable junk stock. Gu Yanzha has officially declared bankruptcy. All of his assets have been frozen and auctioned off by the court, including the mansion he once took pride in, the sports cars, and the luxury apartment he gave to Nkiki that day. As I drove past the Gu Group building, the once grand headquarters now stood cold and deserted. At the entrance, a crowd of employees demanding unpaid wages and angry shareholders had gathered. Gu Yanzha was escorted by bailiffs as he emerged from the building. He wore a crumpled suit, his hair disheveled, his eyes vacant. In just half a month, he seemed to have aged 20 years. He saw my car, through the car window. He stared at me intently. In his eyes, there was no anger, only a dead silence of despair and regret. I rolled down the window and smiled at him. Then, stepping on the gas, he sped off in a cloud of dust. Awesome, so satisfying, what a relief. Evil gets its just deserts. Gu Yanzha deserves it. Queen Xiao, you are my goddess. I was driving, on my way home. The barrage of thoughts in my mind was still celebrating my victory, yet, I didn't feel as excited as I had imagined. After taking revenge on Gu Yanzha and reclaiming the Gu Corporation, it felt like I had suddenly lost my purpose. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. Hello. On the other end of the line was a hoarse yet familiar voice. Xiao Siyu, do you think this is over? It was Gu Yanzha. Somehow, before being taken away, he managed to make this call to me. I'm telling you, you've ruined me, but you won't get off easy either. I've already told Lin Xiang everything, and Kiki is innocent. This was all your design, you poisonous woman. He will avenge me, he definitely will. The phone was hung up. I held the phone, frowning. Lin Xiang, that bootlicking second male lead, he wants to avenge Gu Yanzha. How is the plot getting more and more absurd? I didn't take Gu Yanzha's words to heart. Lin Xiang, what kind of storm can a lapdog, who's been played around by Nkiki, possibly stir up? I quickly immersed myself in the acquisition and restructuring of the Gu Group. I have to admit, the Gu Group's foundation is still quite solid. Just strip away those non-performing assets and inject fresh capital, and it'll be back on its feet in no time. After about a week of busy work, the company's affairs were basically back on track. I gave myself a break and made an appointment with my best friend to go for a spa treatment. Just as I was lying on the massage bed, enjoying the relaxation brought by the essential oils, my phone started vibrating frantically. It was my assistant calling. Boss Xiao, something terrible has happened. My assistant's voice was choked with tears. Online, there's suddenly a flood of negative information about you spreading all over the internet. My heart sank. After hanging up the phone, I immediately opened Weibo. 8 out of the top 10 trending topics were related to me. Hashtag Xiao Siyu scheming hashtag. Hashtag Xiao Siyu framing Gu Yanzha hashtag. Hashtag Xiao Siyu, the vicious supporting female character hashtag. Hashtag Nkiki, the innocent one hashtag. I clicked into a trending topic. Inside was a meticulously edited video. In the video, Nkiki was crying her heart out, accusing me of how I had step-by-step schemed to frame her and Gu Yanzha. She said that at the engagement banquet, it was I who deliberately tripped her. In the hospital, it was I who used my family background to pressure her. At the auction, it was I who maliciously drove up the price, making Gu Yanzha lose face. Finally, they even fabricated evidence to short Gu Corporation's stock, leading to the Gu family's bankruptcy. The video also included several so-called pieces of evidence. For example, a poorly photoshopped picture of me sticking out my foot, and a selectively edited recording of me threatening her at the hospital. What's even more laughable is that she even brought in a few so-called insiders who swore up and down that I had been playing a long game from the very beginning. The goal, they claimed, was to swallow up the Gu family's business. This smear campaign was truly lacking in any finesse, but the netizens bought it. Beneath the video, a torrent of abuse flooded the screen. Holy shit, so this is the truth, that Xiao Siyu is downright vicious. You never really know someone's heart, do you? I used to think she was so cool, but turns out she's a real femme fatale. My heart aches for Nkiki and Gu Yenza. They're the real victims here. Boycott the Qiao group, drive these unscrupulous entrepreneurs out of the business world. Looking at those comments, I wasn't angry at all. In fact, I found it a bit amusing. This isn't how the story was supposed to go. Didn't Nkiki go abroad? How could she suddenly pull something like this? There must be someone behind this helping her. It's Lin Xiang. It must be that phone call from Gu Yenza that did the trick. I turned off my phone and continued to enjoy my SPA. Soldiers are warded off by generals. Floods are stemmed with earth. This little storm isn't enough to make me panic. The next day, I went to work at the company as usual. Outside the company building, reporters and some emotionally charged righteous bystanders had gathered in a crowd. They held up banners, shouting slogans, demanding that I get out. Security guards formed a human wall, struggling to maintain order. Wearing sunglasses, I made my way through the crowd under the escort of my bodyguards. Countless camera flashes flickered in my direction, and countless microphones were thrust toward my mouth. Miss Qiao, is the online exposé true? Do you have anything to say about framing Gu Yenza? Are you really the scheming woman Nkiki says you are? Without a word, I walked straight into the building, back in the office. My head of public relations was sweating with anxiety. Mr. Qiao, what do we do now? The company's stock price is dropping again because of this public opinion crisis. What's the rush? I took off my coat and made myself a cup of coffee. Let them make a scene, the bigger, the better. The PR director was stunned. Mr. Qiao, are you saying we shouldn't respond? It's not that we won't respond. It's just not the right time yet. I gazed out the window. A flicker of coldness passing through my eyes. Nkiki, Lin Xiang, do you think you can defeat me like this? Too naive. What you've unleashed is merely an appetizer. What I have prepared for you is a true feast. I waited for 3 days. During these 3 days, public opinion reached its peak. The reputation of the Qiao group plummeted. Partners called one after another, demanding to terminate their contracts. Within the company, people were also in a state of panic. Just when everyone thought that Xiao Siyu was doomed this time, I held a press conference. The press conference was packed to capacity. All the media were like sharks that had caught the scent of blood, waiting to see how I would meet my end. And Nkiki and Lin Xiang are here too. They sit in the front row, watching me with the air of victors. I walk up to the podium, dressed in a sharp white suit. Without glancing at my notes, I look directly at Nkiki in the audience. Nissan, are you saying that I set you up? Nkiki immediately put on a pitiful expression. Miss Qiao, even now, you still want to deny it. I'm not denying anything. I smiled. I just want to show you a more interesting video. I snapped my fingers. The large screen behind me lit up. The video footage was set in a luxurious hotel suite. The camera was focused directly on a large bed. On the bed, 2 figures were entangled together. The man was Lin Xiang. The woman was Nkiki. In the video, their conversation came through clearly. Brother Xiang, you're so wonderful, much better than that good-for-nothing Gu Yenza. Of course, darling, once I help you bring down Xiao Siyu, the entire Lin family will be yours. Really? Then when will we get married? Soon, soon. Once Xiao Siyu is utterly disgraced, we'll get married. The video was short, but packed with immense information. The entire press conference venue instantly erupted into chaos. All the cameras turned to focus on Nkiki and Lin Xiang in the audience. Their faces deathly pale. This is slander. It's fabricated. Lin Xiang stood up, shouting in a furious rage. Fake. I smiled. Mr. Lin, I have a clearer version here. Would you like me to play it for everyone to enjoy? I waved the USB drive in my hand. Lin Xiang's face instantly drained of color, and Kuku even slumped directly into the chair. Oh my god, what a shocking twist. So Nkuku has been involved with Lin Ziyang all along. Gu Yanze is wearing a green hat, so... This public opinion attack was actually a conspiracy between the two of them. The goal was to bring down Xiao Ciyu and then take over her company. How disgusting, that despicable couple. I looked at the two socially ruined individuals below the stage and picked up the microphone. Friends from the media, I believe the truth is now quite clear. Xiao Ciyu, never do anything to feel guilty about. But if anyone dares to provoke me, I will repay them 100-fold. My gaze finally settled on Nkiki. Missin, there's a saying, try to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice. What exactly is it that you've been scheming so hard for? Money, status, or a man's love? I shook my head, smiling with a look of pity. What a shame, you've schemed and plotted, but in the end, you'll gain nothing, because I won't give you that chance. Lin Ziyang, Nkiki, welcome to my hunting ground. The press conference became the finale of a farce. Nkuku and Lin Ziyang's video spread across the entire internet at a viral speed. The stock of the Lin group hit the daily limit down on the same day. The patriarch of the Lin family was so furious that he almost followed in the footsteps of the Gu family's patriarch. He immediately announced the revocation of Lin Ziyang's inheritance rights and expelled him from the family, overnight. Lin Ziyang went from being the golden boy to a stray dog with no home to return to. And Nkiki became even more like a rat scurrying across the street, despised by everyone, her pure white lotus persona shattered into pieces, not even a trace left. It is said that she was doxxed by angry netizens and didn't even dare to step outside. The war they started ultimately ended in the most devastating way for them. I won completely and utterly. The crisis at the Qiao group was also resolved effortlessly. Not only was I unaffected, but thanks to this brilliant counterattack, my reputation has reached unprecedented heights. Many people say I am a miracle in the business world. A queen with an iron fist. Only I know that I simply no longer want to be that helpless pawn at the mercy of others. The queen is amazing. This ending is so satisfying. That's exactly what those scumbags deserve. So satisfying. So, the plot of the book has been completely changed. I wonder what will happen to this world now that both the male and female leads are ruined. I don't know either. I thought the story should end here. Unexpectedly, I received a call from someone I never expected. It was Gu Yanze. He was released from the detention center. Because of bankruptcy, he was buried in debt, and none of his previous charges were serious enough to land him in prison. He asked to meet me at a very ordinary cafe. I went. He sat by the window, dressed in cheap casual clothes. With a stubbly beard and a dim, weary look in his eyes, he was a far cry from the lofty, untouchable Mr. Gu I remembered. When he saw me, he forced a smile that looked more painful than tears. You're here. I didn't speak. Sitting down across from him, I saw the news, he said, about Lin Ziyang and Nkiki. He picked up his coffee and took a sip, as if to moisten his parched lips. I'm really foolish, aren't I? He looked at me, his eyes filled with endless regret and self-mockery. For the sake of that woman, I gave up on you, ruined the Gu family, and destroyed myself. Is there any point in saying all this now? I spoke softly. None. He shook his head. I know it's too late for words. He took a small velvet box from his pocket and pushed it toward me. This, I'm returning to you. I opened it. Inside was the diamond ring he had placed on my finger when we got engaged. Xiao Ciyu. He looked up, for the first time, gazing at me with an almost pleading expression. I know I deserve to die 1,000 deaths, but, could I ask you for one thing? Go ahead. My dad, he's still in the hospital, the Gu family is gone, and the medical funds have been cut off. Could you help him? As he spoke, his eyes reddened. In the past, I was the one who wronged you, who wronged the Qiao family. I will bear all the blame alone. He is old, and he has done nothing wrong. I looked at him, watching this once arrogant man lower his proud head before me. All for the sake of his father. Alas, the pitiable often have their own despicable traits. Old Master Gu is indeed quite innocent. Will Queen Xiao agree? I remained silent for a long time. Finally, I stood up. I will take full responsibility for his medical expenses. Gu Yanze abruptly looked up, staring at me in disbelief. But, I said, looking at him and enunciating each word clearly, this has nothing to do with you. I'm only doing this out of respect for the friendship between the Qiao and Gu families back in the day, and for my father's sake. As for you, Gu Yanzi, I picked up the ring from the table and dropped it into his coffee cup. You're on your own now. With that, I turned and walked away, never looking back. I would not pity him, much less forgive him. Helping old Master Gu was my duty as a daughter of the Qiao family, and he, Gu Yanzi, must pay the price for the mistakes he made. That price is to spend the rest of his life in repentance and atonement. With all matters resolved, I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. I entrusted the company to a professional manager and took a long vacation for myself. I have been to many places, feeding pigeons in Paris, viewing cherry blossoms in Tokyo, chasing the northern lights in Iceland. I no longer need to watch anyone's expression, nor live for anyone else. I am who I am, Xiao Siyu, a wealthy, attractive, and successful woman. Living freely and independently, this feeling is truly wonderful. The final stop of my journey brought me back to our city. I visited a newly opened dessert shop. The shop owner is a very gentle man. He makes a delicious tiramisu. He said the meaning of tiramisu is, take me away. I smiled and said nothing. Only I can take myself away. While eating the cake, the long-absent barrage of thoughts in my mind reappeared. Where is this? Has the plot already collapsed to this extent? The female lead, male lead, and second male lead are all useless now. Is the author planning to open a new map? Could this dessert shop owner be the new male lead? It feels very likely, a gentle, healing warm guy, paired with the iron-blooded queen of the business world. It's kind of fun to ship. I looked at those bullet comments and shook my head helplessly. What time is it now? And you're still thinking about pairing me up? I set down the spoon and silently said to them in my heart, thank you. Thank you for the spoilers back then, which gave me the chance to live again, but my life no longer needs a male lead. I myself am the leading lady. With that, I picked up my phone and bought a ticket for a ship to Antarctica. I heard that the penguins there are really cute. It seems like she can hear us talking. Going to Antarctica, that's so cool. So, the ending of this story is just the queen being fabulous and focusing on her career. I love this ending. Screw men. Making money is the best, sis, count me in. I looked at those adorable comments and smiled. I stepped out of the dessert shop, the sunlight just right. My phone vibrated once. A message from my assistant, Boss Qiao, the Gu Group. The new Qiao Group now. Released last quarter's financial report. Profits have tripled. I replied with 2 words, received. Then, I turned off my phone. Is the story over? No. My life has only just begun. Goodbye, villainous supporting character. Goodbye. Tool character. Hello, Xiao Siyu. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it,